What is going on, everyone? I hope you are all having a fantastic day. So today is part 7 of our best online bank review series, and that brings us to another viewer request, which is on Dave Banking. Yes, you heard that correctly. This bank is literally called Dave, and we'll talk more about the meaning behind that name in a minute. But this is a really unique platform that puts a heavy emphasis on avoiding those overdraft fees that we all have grown to hate, and also giving you the most simple snapshot possible of your personal finances. So let's break down all the features that Dave Bank has to offer, and of course compare it to the other banks that we've looked at in previous videos. If you do enjoy today's video, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel, since that is the easiest way for you to support me. And as always, let's jump right into it. So you may have never heard of Dave Banking before, and they are definitely still up and coming, but they claim that they currently have over 7 million members, which actually puts them well ahead of some of the other large competitors that we've looked at in previous videos. The CEO says that the name Dave Bank is meant to make customers feel like they are dealing with a bank who is their friend, who has their back. And the CEO also says that it is meant to symbolize the story of David and Goliath, where Dave Bank is taking on the Goliath nationwide banks like my mortal enemy, Wells Fargo. You may have also heard this bank referred to as banking for humans, which is their slogan that they seem to put everywhere, just in case you forget that this is not a bank for extraterrestrials or for the bear that is their mascot. That joke is not funny. So when you download the app and open an account, you'll notice that they have a lot of the same features that you would expect from these online banks, like a free-to-use debit card, the ability to withdraw cash via their network of ATMs, and you can even send checks right through your phone. Now, most of this is pretty common, and you've probably grown to expect these sorts of things if you've seen any of my previous reviews, but Dave Bank is really hyper-focused on one specific niche based on the research that I have done, and that is overdraft fees, or in this case, avoiding overdraft fees. Now, if you've ever had to pay one of these overdraft fees, which are pretty common with those large national banks like you know who, then you know that they absolutely suck. Essentially, this is when you go to pay for something with your checking account via your debit card or any means of payment, and there isn't enough money in their account to cover that transaction. So the bank pulls that money from your savings account in order to cover that cost, and in exchange for providing that incredibly complex service of moving money from your savings account to your checking account, they charge that overdraft fee, which is typically $35. $35. Yes, I'm looking at you, Wells Fargo. Now, if you're anything like me, or if you just have any common sense at all, then you know that this is absolutely ridiculous, and it's just another way for these banks to take your hard-earned money right out of your pocket. In fact, in 2018, the banking industry as a whole earned over $34 billion from overdraft fees alone, and that number is hard to wrap your head around, but this honestly makes a lot of sense, considering recent data shows that 80% of individuals have had at least one overdraft fee, and 10% have had 8 overdrafts or more, and at $35 a piece, that really starts to get pretty expensive pretty quickly. But Dave Bank knew there was a better way, and for many customers, this is a really common and frustrating problem that is really rooted in an honest mistake. So to combat this, Dave Banking offers you a $100 cushion on overdraft fees. Now, there are a lot of discrepancies between the app, the website, and a lot of the other research that I did making this video, but some places say it's $75, some places say it's $100, but honestly, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. What's the point is that you get a nice cushion in case you do have an overdraft fee for whatever reason. Now, before we go and break down exactly what that looks like, I will say that you definitely want to strive to keep a close eye on your checking and savings account balances so that you never have to deal with this problem of overdrafting in the first place. However, unpopular opinion warning, I think savings accounts are stupid to begin with. Again, I understand that some people will spend everything that is in their checking account, and because of that, they have to keep money in their savings account in order to keep themselves from spending it. But if you fall into that category, then I personally think that there are some other deeper financial habits that you might want to take a closer look at. But at the end of the day, typically what you're earning in your savings account is not significantly more than what you would be earning in a checking account, unless you have a lot of money in there. And really, you'd be better off investing large sums of money anyways. So if you ask me, you are better off keeping a good chunk of your money in your checking account anyways, just so that you never have to worry about having an overdraft fee, that money is easily accessible, and if you do have trouble spending all the money that is in your checking account typically, then this is a great opportunity to learn how to properly budget your money. Okay, so moving away from that little tangent, the $100 cushion on overdraft fees is actually directly tied to another feature that they offer that they call a cash advance. Basically, if you are running low on funds in your account, then they will automatically send you a notification or alert on your phone asking if you would like to receive a cash advance in order to cover any upcoming expenses that you might have. Now, I personally am hesitant to call this a cash advance just because, in my opinion, this is set up pretty similarly to a payday loan, and if you have ever heard of payday loans before, then you know that this is the garbage can of the financial world. world. Payday loans are basically when you are borrowing money against your next paycheck that you haven't even received yet, and typically you have to borrow this money at an insanely high interest rate. So needless to say, this is something that you definitely want to avoid at all costs. Now, that being said, the cash advance that Dave Banking is offering you is actually at no interest, no credit check is needed, and to qualify, you have to have some sort of consistent income, whether that be through direct deposit right into your Dave Bank account, or just a pattern of consistent income over a decent period of time that they can see in your account. And on top of that, these loans only go as high as $100, which again ties into that $100 cushion for the overdraft fees. But again, I would argue that if you have to draw your account so low that you need to borrow $100, then you might want to take a closer look at some of your other financial habits. This video is not about budgeting or by any means a lecture on how to handle your money. I just thought I'd throw some general tips in there since we were focused on that topic. But as always, make sure you do your own research and don't just take the advice of some random guy on the internet. Okay, so we've covered all the unique features that come with this account, including the unique overdraft protections, the cash advances, and the other awesome features that Dave Bank offers you. Now, on top of that, you can also get your paycheck up to 2 days early, which we have seen before from some competitors like Chime, but a lot of the fintech banks in this industry are still lacking this feature, so definitely a plus for Dave Banking for sure. There's also some built-in budgeting features, and it's by no means anything super complex like Mint or even SoFi Relay, but everything does tie together nicely on the Dave Banking app in the sense that they do monitor your overall balance and will automatically ask you if you need a cash advance. And they offer those basic weekly budgeting features that give you a nice macro view of your overall financial health. And the last feature that I thought was pretty cool and unique is that they actually allow you to start building your credit score without having to take out any debt or even open a credit card if you don't want to go down that path. They do this by allowing you to report your rent and utility payments to the major credit bureaus. So basically, by showing that you are paying your rent and utility payments every single month consistently without fail, you're showing that you are a good borrower, which obviously helps your credit without you having to take out any debt or even open a credit card. Definitely an added benefit that we really haven't seen anywhere else, but that said, if you are concerned about your credit score, you might be better off just opening a free debit card like the Discover It card and using it for your regular everyday purchases and then paying it off at the end of the month every single month without fail. You'll be able to build your credit score, get some awesome cash back, and take full advantage of the other benefits that come with paying for things with credit over paying with debit or cash. So those are all the great features, but there are two huge cons that I do want to address, the first of which being a security breach that they had actually just a few months ago. Now, while this is obviously a crappy situation and can be scary for current and potential new users, I will say that Dave Banking was extremely upfront about the entire situation, and they are doing a full investigation on what went wrong and how they can improve this in the future. Essentially, a lot of their users had some basic demographic information stolen from their system, but Dave Bank did clarify that no banking or financial information was taken, but if this is a concern for you, then definitely something that you want to look more into in the future before opening up one of these accounts. And the second con is that this service costs $1 per month. Now, there are ways to get around this by referring friends to Dave Banking or by shopping at their partner retail stores. However, for $1 a month, in my opinion, this isn't really that bad. They do have other paid options like the ability to get a rushed cash advance for $4.99, and you can also tip them right through the app, and each percentage that you tip goes towards either feeding a hungry family in need or planting a tree, which is fantastic, and I love that they are taking a philanthropic approach outside of their desire to make profit. But if you're just paying that $1 per month, then for $12 a year, this isn't really that bad if it does save you from even one overdraft fee, since again, that's usually $35. So if you do typically have a lot of issues with overdraft fees, then just being saved from one overdraft fee will really help you come out ahead at the end of the year. So this is definitely an interesting account, and if you do have a lot of trouble with overdraft fees, then I would definitely check it out. But if you've never really had issues with keeping money in your checking account and you keep a pretty close eye on all of the balances in your various accounts, then I personally would still stick with something like SoFi or Chime, just because they are completely free to use and their user interface is still a bit easier to use in my opinion. But let me know what you think of Dave Banking down in the comment section below, and if there's any other fintech or online banks that you think we should add to this series in the future. If you did enjoy today's video, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel, since that's the easiest way for you to support all the time that I put into making these reviews. As always, thank you so much for your time. I seriously do appreciate it so much. Take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.